Okay, so I've been wanting to make this video for a while now, and I'm really excited to show you all how I was able to 10x my money over the past 3 years. And before I dive in, I want to encourage you that if you like this kind of content, hit that like button because that'll let me know if you want me to make more content like this. But with all that said, let's go ahead and dive right in. Now, 10xing your money is not easy to do, but it is definitely worth the reward. I think there are plenty of people that think in order to 10x my money, I need to be in extremely risky stocks or crypto. But that's simply not the case. As cool as it would be to say that I am a Dogecoin millionaire, I know that it wasn't going to be the best idea for handling my money. But if you want to 10x your money, it is going to come down to two things in my opinion: finding a good deal and being patient. Even though this probably isn't what people want to hear, finding the next Tesla is not going to happen every single year. Now don't get me wrong, if you see a company that has tremendous potential, then take advantage of it. But it may take longer than you expect. There were actually two ways that I 10x'd my money. I was blessed because I got into Tesla at the beginning of 2020, and I kept buying all the way through the pandemic drop. But it still took me 10 months to 10x my money. However, with all that said, Tesla was not the best way, in my opinion, that I 10x my money. And that is where I want to talk about my other strategy, and you may be surprised. However, before I start talking about this strategy, I know that some people will not like this idea. But if you want more money to invest and grow your wealth, I believe this is the best way to do it, and that would be real estate. See, in the end of 2018, I bought a property that was worth $220,000, and that property is now worth over $375,000. Now, I know that's not a 10x, but that is not how you should evaluate real estate. The problem is when people look at this, they believe that I bought this house with my own money, and that is not what ended up happening. Instead, I put a small amount of money down and used other people's money to buy the rest of the house for me. When it came to this property, I put in about $13,000 and the rest is a loan. So let's look at it this way. When people look to see how much houses typically appreciate, it is usually somewhere around 3.5% to 4%. And they're like, I don't want to be in something that only grows 4%. And so they go ahead and put it into a bunch of index funds. But the problem with this approach is, once again, it is based off of the entire house value, not simply just how much money you put in. So let's say that you buy a house for $210,000 just to keep it simple. And you have a down payment of about 5%, so you pay roughly $10,000. And then with closing costs, we'll say that adds up to another $8,000. So in total, you put in about $18,000. Then let's say the house appreciates by 3.5%. So rather than $210,000, the house is now worth $217,000. Because you only put in $18,000, your return is actually 39%, not 3.5%. If we look at some of the best stock pickers, they would have an amazing year if they had 20% return, never mind almost 40%. So as long as you have people paying the mortgage for you, your returns are going to be exponentially higher than what you would get in a stock market year after year. Now, I know that 2020 and 2021 were outstanding years in the stock market. I mean, in 2020 alone, I think I returned over 50%, but that's simply not sustainable in the stock market. But for real estate properties, it is definitely doable if you find the right deals. In my case, I put in $13,000 on the house, and it appreciated over $150,000, 10xing my money.
Okay, so how are you paying off the rest of the loan?
That is a great question, other me. So before I was married, I did this thing called house hacking, where I rented out the other rooms, and that paid for my mortgage while the money that I was making in college would be put into savings in case there were any repairs that needed to be made. Then once I got married in 2020, my wife and I moved to Augusta, Georgia, and we started renting that house out to college students. So the mortgage on the house continues to get paid for month after month. Now, I know that the housing market has gone crazy over the past 3 years, but that doesn't exclude the fact that you can still make substantial money in real estate. Things are definitely different with the increased interest rates, but I do believe that if you buy good deals in growing stable markets, then you can still definitely get some good returns. People will say that the stock market is one of the safest places to put your money, and maybe in an index fund, it could be. But I personally believe that if you want to truly grow your money the fastest and safest, this is the best option available. And if you are someone who is already spending a decent amount of time searching for stocks by listening to their conference calls, reading 10Ks and 10Qs, and going through their investors presentations, then right off the bat, you are spending a similar amount of time that you would on a real estate property. Finding good deals does take some time, but the same thing goes with stocks. So if real estate is something that you have not wanted to do, I would encourage you to ask yourself why. Is it because you thought returns were low? Is it because of the stress that comes with owning a house? I was in a very similar position at the end of 2020. There was a good amount of stress that came with having a real estate property. But when I saw that my returns on the property at that time were 4x my money, I needed to ask myself if it was worth it. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized that those stresses only occurred during the time something would happen with the tenant or the house itself. but over time, you will never be able to get these same returns year after year in the stock market. Now, don't get me wrong, I love being able to talk about stocks, but when it comes to growing your wealth, real estate, in my opinion, is the best option. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and please let me know if you want me to continue to make videos like this by smashing that like button and commenting down below. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button, that way you are notified when new content comes out. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your week, and we'll see you in the next one.